Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Conversation with MJ, where we are going to embark on a journey of connection, growth, discovery together. I'm your host, MJ, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this exhilarating ride through realms of inspiration, wisdom, and insight. So we're going to deep dive into the heart of what it means to live a fulfilling life, to pursue our passions, and to unlock our greatest potential. Each episode is a celebration of human connection and a testament to the power of authenticity and a reminder that we are all on this journey together. So get ready to be inspired, get ready to be empowered, and get ready to ignite your inner fire, because here at Conversations with MJ, the adventure never ends. So join us with every moment an opportunity to shine. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, please leave a comment, and the show will be starting shortly. See you soon. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope everyone had a wonderful Monday, I hope that the weather is nice and warm. It's been warm up here for the past couple days in New York. We've been having 70, 80 degrees weather. It's crazy given the fact that we're already in October, but nonetheless, we are going to count our blessings where we get it, because anybody who knows, New York can get really, really cold during the winter time. I mean, even though fall is my, that's my weather right there. That's my season. But when winter comes, it's no joke. So I'm enjoying it now while we have it. So, this one that I have today, if you see the title, Celebrating Black Love and Our Success. I'm doing this because this was a special request from none other than HQ. Shout out to HQ if she taps in. How you doing, sis? She wanted me to also display acts of when Black couples or Black love is successful and is beautiful. And then she also wanted me to show, success that we have done, right? So yesterday, I had to have my spew. I had my rant yesterday about all the negative things that I was seeing online in reference to the Black community that I didn't like. And I'm still dead serious about it. But I am going to be fair and also acknowledge the beautiful things that do come out of it. You know what I'm saying? The beautiful things that comes out of Black love and the beautiful things that did come out with Black culture, right? So I am going to do my part to highlight those great things, and hopefully I will inspire other people to uplift these beautiful things that we can also fall back on, right? Oh no, what's the news? What happened? Robin, don't tell me, Lord, don't tell me something else happened, please, child. Don't tell me, baby, don't tell me something else happened. I'm trying to be in a good spirit. I'm trying to be in a good spirit tonight. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Dang. Well, you can let me know, but I'm gonna try to keep my good spirit. I'm gonna try to keep my hopes up. Oh, that's not news. That's not news, darling. That been in the works. And congratulations to them. Absolutely. 100%. Congratulations to them. Any bundle of joy is a beautiful thing. Congratulations. Absolutely. That's wonderful. That's a beautiful thing. Okay? So, let's get on. So this is a good thing, right? Because now, since we're talking about Black love, this is another celebration of Black love when it goes right and it goes the way that it needs to go. So, in the spirit of Black love and in the spirit of Black success or Black excellence, I'm going to start this live off with some good old music. You know how I like to get down, I like to set the mood. I like to set the mood before, I actually get into the stuff. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Let's see. Oh, let me put this down first. Hold on. Yes. So in the spirit of Black love, yes, shout out to the girl don't got no makeup on, really don't got no makeup on tonight. In the spirit of Black love, let me go get the video going. Okay. All right, let's see. So this is for all my 90s, 80s babies. Y'all better know this song. And if y'all don't know this song, you should be ashamed of yourself. So let's rock out and have a good time before we start the show. All right, let me put this here. Let me get my banner because I don't want them to hit me with the copyright. I want to take your thing down. I can't stand when they do that. I really can't. YouTube be getting on my last nerve sometimes. Last nerve. All right, here we go. Shout out to Black love. Let's go.
This love for real.
Can't you see how I feel, baby? I've never felt this way before. You know what you did to me.
This love for real.
Can't you see how I feel?
This love for real.
Can't ignore the way I feel about you, baby. I just
soft spot in my heart and it's getting closer. Weather the storm, hun, and nothing will harm you. My ebony queen while I'm your knight in armor. Wish I could tell you how I feel. Here's a kiss. This love for real.
Can't you see just how I feel? It's for you. It's for you.
This love for
Don't you know this love is real? It's for you. Can't you see how I feel? Don't you know this love is real? It's for you. It's for you.
this love for real.
Can't you see how I feel? Don't you know this love is real? It's for you. Can't you see how I feel? Don't you know this love is real? It's for you. Can't you see how I feel? Don't you know this love is real? It's for you. Can't you see just how I love you, baby? I want you, baby. It's for you.
This love for real.
You know this love is real. It's for you. It's for you. Can't you see how I feel? Don't you know this love is real?
All right, yay! Shout out to Shanice. I used to love that song when I was younger. Who doesn't love Meteor Man's soundtrack? Is like one of the best. So shout out to my old heads. And yes, college football, I am showing my age. God damn it, I don't care. All right, Cougars is in the building. But shout out to Shanice and everything. Oh, wow, damn. Everybody coming up in here. What's up, Omega? You heard rumors too? Lord. All right. Well, like I said, this ain't no rumor channel, but shout out to everything and everything was going on. We trying to, you know what, college football, please. Okay, because the last time I played some SWV, everybody was like, what's this? They had the screw face and everything. They was not feeling it. I was like, come on now. Yes, exactly, TMKC. Us Cougars, we out here. We out here. All right. So like I said, after I had my rent, I wanted to be even because we know everything is not black and white. We all live in the gray zone, right? Shout out to Dr. Freezy. Thank you for coming, sir. Appreciate you. So I wanted to show some beautiful things about Black people, some beautiful things that we have done throughout the history. I also wanted to show Black love, some successful Black love, things that people who are in relationships now, couples or marriages, maybe you should look out for these type of events that they have specifically for Black couples and Black marriages and stuff like that, that will help or even, freshen up things, whatever you need to use it for. They have all these different resources for Black couples to help them or to, get them on a track, whatever. Yes, Robin, I'm trying. So that's why I need everybody to hit the like, subscribe, comment. I'm on the road to trying to get to monetization. I know I'm nowhere near 1,000, but I'm almost near 500. I only need 1,000 more views when it comes down to view time, and I will be monetized. So let's get this channel up there. Share it out to your friends, family, anybody who will be interested in my content and who will want to stay around, so we can have a neutral channel for everyone, men and for women, have good conversations, discuss our concerns, but still show respect and love for one another, wherever our path in life may take us. And this is not only just for Black people, even though I am a Black person, this is for everyone, because I do wish this for everyone, I really do. Absolutely. All right. So, the first thing I'm going to show you is should I start with this one? Maybe I should. All right. So I'm going to show you a 1988 special report about the Black middle class, right? And the reason why I'm showing this is because sometimes when we talk about the middle class or the Black upper middle class, we get the bourgeoisie, these are the bougie Blacks, these are the Blacks who look down on poorer Blacks like they're inferior, they're incompetent, they're ignorant, they're all ignorant. And that's really not the case. And then a lot of people also believe that the ones who was born into middle class and upper middle class, they believe that they have this disdain for their culture, right? The negative and the good. They also feel like they're placating to other people's culture or other people's community, like such as the white community, which they're not. And they feel that the people who are upper middle class or born into upper middle class or middle class, they don't deal with the same type of discrimination or microaggressions that society will place on Black Americans in general, because they believe that, well, since you have money, then you're not experiencing those things. I would say, as a woman who was born in upper middle class, that's not the case. Okay? That's not the case. Upper middle class Black people dealt with discrimination. They dealt with people redlining, people trying to move them out of the neighborhood, didn't want them in the neighborhood, even though they had the credentials, the job, the money, everything, right? There was also, that type of discrimination that was happening. It was the microaggressions, right? You had to be very careful what you say. You felt like, if one false move of you just being a human being and having a bad day, it can harm you and your reputation, right? Now all of a sudden, that one day that you flip somebody off because you was having a bad day when you're dealing with microaggressions, all of a sudden now that is your identity, that one day. And then the funny thing about it is, during that time, it would affect the whole family. In fact, it will affect the whole community just for a certain small individual, right? But I'm here to tell you that no, our struggles are not identical to people who are from lower income classes or poor or living under the poverty line. It's not the same. I know that y'all have an extra layer that's hard, because it's one thing when you have money and dealing with racism and discrimination and redlining and everything else, but there's another thing when you don't, and it's an extra stress. It's an extra part of your anxiety. So I would never ever take away what some individuals have to go through, right? I wouldn't never do that. But I don't want, there's this confusion where a lot of people believe that the quote unquote upper middle class, rich Black, or middle class Black, which now, thank God, most Black people now in the US population is actually in the middle class. So shout out to y'all. That's a great thing, right? But I don't want people to believe that people who are from that, they always view you different. No. In fact, they loved you just the same. not everybody in our family was upper middle class. Like even with mine, like I grew up upper middle class, but I have family members, my grandparents, even my mom, she didn't grow up in upper middle class. My father didn't grow up in upper middle class, right? What happened was my father became a working millionaire. And then he moved with my mom, my brother before I was born, moved with my mom, my brother, and then moved into upper middle class location. I was born in Brooklyn. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Brooklyn girl. I'm a Brooklyn Knight. But even then, I was raised in Queens. What part of Queens was I raised in? I'm from the same childhood, the childhood neighborhood of President Donald Trump. That is where I'm at. I live 10 minutes away from St. John's University. Okay. And also other colleges too that y'all know, SUNY colleges and stuff. So again, there's people in my family who are not upper middle class, but that's what I grew up in upper middle class. And I tell you, I never thought any different. And I loved any of my family members who was probably living in the under the poverty line. I didn't treat them any different. I loved them just the same. And they were rich in character and valued in so many ways. And I wanted to make sure that everybody know that not everybody who is in these different social classes think the same. I'm not saying that there's not ones who are bougie and who acts nasty towards other blacks and all the stuff like that. No, I'm not saying that at all because I see them and I can't stand them either. And I'm like, get the hell away from me. But I do want you to know that there were some who loved, cared, and still love and care about you and still want to help move everybody better to wherever they can get to, wherever their hearts desire. We're out there and we still do want to help. And we are still watching and hoping that we can all come together and everything can and be better for all of us, not just a certain sector or group. Okay. So, what I wanted to show you is the 1988 special report because like I said, this is a celebration stream of Black love, Black excellence. I have those videos too. This is not a bashing stream. It's about celebrating the great of us, the best of us, and acknowledging and uplifting all our success that we have done throughout the years. So let's get ready to it. Let me pull this up for you guys. And we're going to get into it. Let me get my fair use banners on. Where's my fair use? Hey, Jalen. Thank you for coming, sweetheart. All right. I think we got it. Okay.
class, because he felt that Fraser had erred and committed the sin of, as it were, airing the dirty linen of the black middle class in public. The kind of image that is conjured up in my mind is of a black person who is primarily concerned with the trappings of life, the symbols of success without any real substance. Things like having a Cadillac, for instance, being able to dress in a certain way, for instance, being able to go to certain nightclubs and so on and so forth. Something without any real substance.
After Fraser's study was published, to be called bourgeois in the black community was considered to be either an insult or a compliment, depending upon a person's quest for status and the trappings of society, a theme which re-emerges later in the 1980s.
The 1960s brought on the civil rights movement. The black middle strata made greater gains during the next 10 years than during the previous 50 years. Why? Because desegregation of schools, public accommodations, employment quotas, and affirmative action made it possible for blacks to become well-educated and obtain jobs in areas never thought of before. No longer were blacks restricted to religious and teaching occupations. Now the white-collar and professional marketplace opened with employment opportunities in management, medicine, law, and marketing. Blacks then could shop anywhere and obtain the finest goods and accommodations that money could buy.
So as you can see, it's just pretty much showing you the history that at one point we was only able to do manual labor jobs. We was only having blue collar jobs, right? Trades jobs. We could be a blacksmith, we can be a nurse, a wet nurse, things of that sort. But then now it's coming to the point where now we can open up and have white collar jobs. So this is when you're going to start to see that we can become lawyers, we can become politicians, and actually that started a long time ago. If you really know about the black bourgeoisie or the black boule, that started a long time ago. Even before civil rights, there were black lawyers, there were black politicians, there were black post office postmasters and things of that sort. And I'm going to show you all these things, right? Because we really need to talk about our history and not always at the point of all the trials and tribulations that we went through, right? We need to talk about all the success and stuff that we have done right, the things that we pushed through and we succeeded in. That has to be added in these conversations that we have so we can have a balanced understanding of history, right? And who we are.
According to a study by University of Maryland sociologist Bart Landry entitled The New Black Middle Class, between 1960 and 1970, the black middle class doubled in size, achieving a growth rate of 106.8%. However, between 1970 and 1980, the black middle class rate of growth declined to 61.9%. Whites experienced just the opposite. Their middle class increased faster in the 1970s than in the 1960s. If the black middle class had developed at the same rate in the 1970s as in the 1960s, Landry writes, there would have been almost 4.5 million blacks in the middle strata instead of 3.5.
It's the 1980s, and the new black middle strata has emerged. They've climbed into the ranks of corporate America.
Work class, go in the corner. You just pop in. You talk about this is a sisterhood channel. Go in the corner. Go in the corner. Timeout. You're in timeout already. How you just come in and get in timeout? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. But yeah, I don't have to really explain the chart that they just did because that was self-explanatory, because I'm sure everybody know about the crime bill. Everybody know that we started bringing drugs into our communities and stuff like that. So that also played a big part and why we went down almost 1.5 million of people actually gaining into the middle class during the time of 1970s to 1980s. So y'all already know the history. We don't got to go there. Let's continue.
America. They establish successful enterprises. They are called Buppies, black urban professionals, the middle-class counterparts of yuppies, their white co-workers. But who are they, and how are they defined as middle class?
These are young people who have gone to colleges and who have moved into the so-called mainstream. They have not really had to fight the tough battles that black folks have fought a generation before them. The way has been paved somewhat for them, and they have profited from the fruits of others' labors, and that's what we wanted. We wanted our children to have a better life than we had.
When we return, we'll take a look at 3 examples of the black middle class: the 2-career marriage, the single male, and the single parent. Stay with us.
To examine the middle strata, we must first attempt to define this group. Economists and sociologists debate defining the black middle class. Should it be by income or occupation? Dr. Ben Whitten of the Baltimore Urban League.
So I'm not sure I can give you a sharp definition for middle class, because middle class is somewhat judged on income. And if the income is from one person, that's something different from the income being from several persons in the household working. But generally speaking, we'd be thinking of a combined income or a household income of $35,000 to $40,000.
To examine the middle strata in America more closely, we take a look at the 2-career marriage, the single parent, and the single male.
You know, that's kind of crazy, right? Like the irony of him saying that they were striving at this time, because this looked like this is definitely the 80s. They were striving to be making around 35 to 45,000, and in 2024, that's literally where our average is as when it comes down to black males, and then black women is literally 1% under that. Isn't the irony of that? Because back then, if they were making that much, that would have led them to be in the middle class. And then now here we are, 2024, making around that much. Well, not me, but a lot of our population is making around that much or below the poverty line. And yeah, that's crazy. I just thought that was kind of ironic.
Good morning, Eric Lamberson. Okay, how are you doing today? What can I do for you?
I grew up in a small town in northeastern North Carolina called Plymouth. I'm one of 6 siblings. Neither of my parents are educated. My father, I guess, finished about the 7th grade. My mother did do some high school work, but basically come from, I guess, what you would consider a blue-collar background. I graduated from the Coast Guard Academy in 1974 with a Bachelor of Science degree. While still in the Coast Guard, I began attending the Johns Hopkins University Evening College and graduated from there in 1981 with a degree in mechanical engineering. I personally feel like it's unfortunate, but it's just one of the results of being in a capitalistic society. But as a black person, I think when we focus in on the different classes, that's just one more way to segment us as a population of people. And I think that for me, I don't really have to go around and, saying, hey, I'm in the black middle class. I think that as a group of people, we really have other things that we need to be focusing on instead of really doing things to segment the population into different classes.
start from zero, then we reach the stage where we can almost do anything we want to do. We can purchase almost anything we want. We can travel normally when we want to. We're involved in a lot of the family activities where the whole family actually, go on trips together, or the Cub Scouts. We take karate lessons together. And we can afford these things. The kids are exposed to the arts. My daughter, we have a piano teacher come over and teaches her. My son is taking violin lessons. So I think so. I think we finally reached a point where money, basically, we have enough to survive.
So it's quite insane, right? Because here, these are two working parents. Two working parents. The one is a postal service worker, and the other one is a special education teacher. And they're able to still have trips with their children. They're still able to sit down and have meals with their kids, go places with them, put them in sports and stuff like that. So I was wondering, like, even now when we hear about people who are married today or are cohabitating, cohabiting with each other, or I would say AKA playing house with each other, why is those things not happening no more? Is it really because of the amount of labor that they're doing and not making enough money, or is it because they're just not built like that anymore when it comes down to personality wise, to actually be really spend the time and focus on your family, right? Because like I said, like my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my father, he worked all the time, right? But when he did come home, we always had dinner with each other, right? Me, my mom, my brother, we always had dinner with each other. My father, we always went out. We always went during the seasons, like right now, like October and stuff. My father used to have a lodge in Pennsylvania, so we used to go to the Poconos all the time during the winter time and spend maybe a week or two there in the lodge. We used to always have like family outings. Even when I was a kid, my mom and my mom, my brother and my father, when I was a baby, they used to always travel and go to Michigan to the Great Lakes and stuff like that. So like it's like I really just believe it has a lot to do with if you're if you're family orientated anymore. And I just think that a lot of people are just not that family orientated how they used to be anymore. Most people don't even like each other. Most family members don't even like each other. The only thing that's literally holding them together is the fact that they share the same blood. It's the fact that they just share the same blood, and that's it. It's sad. It's really sad, because I wish that more people had, more close knit family where they was experiencing that, right? Because I know people talk about how they're close to their cousins, they're close to their auntie and their grandma, and they was experiencing that with their extended family. But when you really have a one-on-one conversation and ask about the dynamics in their household, their family household, whether if they had a one parent or two parent family household, a lot of them don't have those type of stories. And it's unfortunate that, like I said, being family orientated is it took a back burner. It definitely took a back burner. People they're not built for that anymore. Let's see what some of these comments are saying. Hey Nidish, thank you for coming. Let's see. World Class said, MJ, you and the guy's glasses look like they could be cousins a little bit. Go to the corner. Go in the corner. Go in the corner. Leave me alone, okay? Like I said, when I have my glasses on, I look like a librarian. It is what it is. I have 3 pairs. I'm telling you, this is still going to be the same. Like, it's just what it is. Librarian, Just some librarian. Okay. Let's see. Hey, hey, is that Ron Mac? Hey, Ron Mac, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, Poconos was fun. Yeah, world class. Poconos was real fun. I loved it, especially going skiing and stuff like that. And they still have the indoor water park and pools and stuff like that. Love it. Just love it. Let's see. Sugar Bum said, my dad still takes us all to the lake there. That's great. That's great. Keep it up. Really do keep up those family traditions. Honestly, I definitely miss it now. Like, my father passed away in 2015, so it's been hard, for me, because like even even as an older person, me and him would go travel, and my mom, we would all go travel and something like that. We'll go up to Westchester, we would go wherever or not, or ride playland or something like that, because that's what things that he always used to do with us as a kid. So he always wanted, when before he passed and he got sick, he always wanted us to go up to these places and stuff like that. So I miss that. Even as an adult, it didn't matter. I was still his baby. Let's see. Robin said we would have Sunday dinner every week when I was a kid as family with my grandparents. Yeah. And I miss that too a lot with my grandparents. God rest their soul, because they was like really the glue that kept the family together. Everybody came from afar. Didn't matter if they was coming from Virginia. Didn't matter if they was coming from Atlanta. Didn't matter if they was coming from Florida. Whatever it is, they all came when it was like a event, somebody birthday, their birthdays or something, like everybody was gonna be there, right? Everybody was gonna be there. And I always enjoyed having my big family Sunday dinners and stuff like that. That's when we was able to get the Bronx people out of the Bronx to come to Brooklyn. Because I'm telling you, if you know Bronx people only stay in the Bronx. They don't go out of the Bronx. Their whole world is the Bronx. You got to bribe them to get the fuck out the Bronx and just get on the goddamn train or get a car or whatever not, and just come to the next borough. Just come to Brooklyn. It was like the hardest thing. I'm telling you, it was harder than nails. Harder than nails. Let's see. She said my grandparents were like my second set of parents. Yeah, my grandfather is one of my fathers, because my first word wasn't even daddy or mommy. My first word was granddaddy. Because once I was born, my grandfather took me and he named me, and that's a part of his Native American culture. So I have a Native American name. He named me and everything, and I was always with him. I was always with him. He didn't want to let me go. Like, he told my mom, no, back up. That's how it was. Okay. Let's see. World class said we went to the Poconos and did some camping. I was stressed out, but how you getting stressed out for camping? Listen, I was stressed out too, because listen, I don't like bugs. I know how to camp. I know how to set a fire. I know what to do to survive, right? I know all the survival, tactics and everything, but I don't like bugs. I hate insects. I really do. So that's like the only thing. Like, so now I don't go camping, I go glamping. Okay. Hey Don, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming. Aw, Tim says he sees. Yes, glamping is fun. Glamping is where it's at. Okay, yes, exactly. Especially when you older. All right, get the glamping on. Okay. He said, "Did you say logging?" Oh no, not logging. Camping. Let's see. Don't listen to the word class. Yes, I am a librarian. That's why I love libraries so much. I love libraries. I really do. After my grandma died, we didn't have no more family. Yeah. You know what's funny? That's what happened. Once my grandma died, the family reunions came to a halt. There wasn't every year, but when it really stopped is when my uncle, my mom's oldest brother, passed away, which was what year was it? 2019. Did she go to sleep? I think it was 2019, 2020. My uncle passed away, and he was the one who took on the baton what my grandfather and my grandma did, because that was his mother and his father. And he took it on, and he was the one, the glue to get everybody together. He had everybody's phone numbers and everything like that where he can contact them and all the stuff like that. So when he passed, it hit like a ton of brick to the family, because he was the connection from all of us, from everybody up north, from everybody down south. He bridged us all together. Let's see. Hey, Black Beauty, thank you for coming, sweetheart. I appreciate you. Yeah, I was over at Sinji's a little earlier. Yeah, shout out to her. Shout out to her, always doing her thing. She was touching on a very serious topic. Ooh, and I say, blessings to her, because you know what the topic is. But shout out to her, and thank you for coming. Oh, your grandma named you. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Word class said the buzz, the grass, the lake water. What? Y'all a hot mess. You a hot mess. You gonna kind of go back in the corner. All right, let's keep on going.
Before getting married, we sat at the kitchen table and we wrote our objectives as to what we wanted to do once we got married. And so far, we have met all the goals that we had planned for ourselves.
We just gear ourselves towards the growth of our children. We want them to be exposed to most of the things that I was going to say we weren't exposed to.
We
That's
never
not
had the
necessarily
opportunity
true.
of being exposed to.
We have definitely set a goal or an objective that every check we receive, 5% is going towards their education. They should have an opportunity. They can almost pick the school of their choice if they qualify for it.
I do come from very humble beginnings. As a matter of fact, I spent a good portion of my early childhood growing up in the McCullough projects in downtown Baltimore. So it wasn't until the 1960s, when blacks began to increase their social and economic status, that my father was able to move the family away from the inner city. There's 7 of us all together, and plenty of cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents. I do have a 16-year-old, and being a single parent, I've raised them alone. But because of the large family, their love and support, it has not been a major task in raising him at all. I think Buppie is more of a social stigma that's been attached to young professionals who want a better way of life. If they feel that they're comfortable in the BMW or the Mercedes, as long as they can afford it, who cares what they call them? I don't mind being called a Buppie. Friends, family sometimes accuse me of being a Buppie, and I wear it proudly.
So pretty much a Buffy was pretty much someone who was trying to who came from humble beginnings, who was trying to move into a different social class. So those are people who used to think that, you're being bougie because now you have been able to attain a new job and stuff like that, and now you're able to purchase things that you wasn't able to purchase before. You think that you're stuck up, you think that you're better than people. So the term that they used to call those people back there was Buffies.
But what about the trappings, like vacations in the Caribbean, Mercedes and BMWs, the homes in Columbia, Ashburton, and on Madison Avenue. How important are these luxuries to the black middle class?
In my opinion, it doesn't make sense for someone to go out and buy a $50,000 automobile and they're paying rent. That just doesn't make sense to me.
You owe it to yourself to get the best in life that you can, because you only go around once. And if it's out there and you can afford it and you feel good doing it, then go for it.
We need one, good health. That's a must. We need a good mind. And most of all, we need the freedom to choose. Aside from that, everything else is replaceable. Those are the things that cannot be replaced.
Does the black middle strata have any real commitment to the underclass?
Oh, I think so. I think, though, that there are enough resources within this large and growing group of educated blacks making decent salaries to do a better job of helping some or helping more of the youngsters who haven't made it yet or whose families haven't made it yet.
I do not know that this is happening with the degree of frequency that I would like to see it happening. So I guess in answer to your question, making the contribution that needs to be made in a substantive area, I don't think is being made with the same degree, with the degree of frequency that I would like to see it being made.
And are today's Buppies merely a carbon copy of their white counterparts?
No, I don't even consider that at all. I just know that there's a certain lifestyle that I feel most comfortable with. And if material things are interspersed with those, then so be it.
I think there would be some areas of my life that would be considered a carbon copy. Just because of the fact that I'm in an environment where it's predominantly a predominantly white environment. You know, most of the people I work with are white. I interact with white people as far as my career is concerned. And I do have people that I socialize with sometimes that are white.
Yes, I think so. By definition, yes. If we're looking at middle class as a combination or encompasses occupation, it encompasses what income, a way of life, I think so.
They're living in two worlds, and many of us live in two worlds.
So the simple fact is, I don't think it's a carbon copy, me personally, right? And the reason why I don't think it's a carbon copy, and it's so sad that they actually said that, is because that's them pretty much saying that unless you're a black person that is struggling, who have to rely on government assistance, living in a shack with 10 people in there, 20 people in there, and half of that is kids. Like it's feeding into the stereotype of what is a black experience, right? And a black experience is it can be good and it can be bad, right? It can be good or it can be bad. So we don't want to just only put out the image that all the bad things or the struggle and the strife is the only black experience. And by us knowing, especially it's unfortunate because these supposed to be well educated and reverse black Americans at this time, it's unfortunate for them to say that if they knew what the Gilded Age was, if they knew what the politicians and the lawyers and the stuff that we had in the early 1900s. We talk about Black Wall Street, we talk about Greenwood, we talk about all of these other black towns that were literally successful, and everybody that was in it was literally professionals, right? New York alone had one of the largest middle class black community in the 1900s. And guess where that was? That was Brooklyn. That's why we have brownstones in Brooklyn. The old brownstones is over 100 years old. There were nothing but black people in those things. Those are landmarks in Brooklyn. A brownstone now in Brooklyn costs you $1.5 million. Okay? That's the lowest. before I moved to Florida back in 2012, and I ended up moving back here. I was living, me and my son's father, we was living in our brownstone in Brooklyn, right off of East New York. And then we sold it, and then we moved down to Florida, right? So like, again, like, I don't want people to believe that there's only one experience of the Black experience. It's not. It really isn't, right? And if they understood our history of our Black elites, our Black successful people, how can I pronounce it? It's Seneca Village, before they destroyed it and turned it into Central Park, was literally a wealthy Black community. Like, I wish they wouldn't do stuff like this. I really do. I really do. It's unfortunate. It really is. I don't want people to believe that you have to have, you have to have the woe is me struggle life to understand only what Black plight is. When there's so much rich and beauty and success in Black plight alone. Hey, Luxury Bucket. See, listen, listen, Luxury Bucket, right? She's, shout out to the auntie, right? She's the auntie, okay? She's from New York, and you can ask her, tell her if I'm lying about the brownstones, okay? And the brownstones in Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance, where all those Black people there around 125th Street was all millionaires who owned their own shops, doctors, they were pharmacists, they were everything, right? But when we talk about our history, we always talking about the ones who were struggling. What about the ones who wasn't struggling? Harlem was all about the the kingpins. Like, I don't know. Y'all better ask somebody. Let's go on.
Worlds or three worlds, and we do that for survival. But so long as we're not kidding ourselves about what some of the real issues are, then I think that we can look back and bring some other folks along with us.
Our topic tonight is From Bourgeois to Buppie, and when we come back, we'll talk with our three experts on the emerging Black middle class. Please stay with us.
Welcome back to City Line. To help us in our discussion, we're joined by three eminent...
So I wanted to stop right here because look at Roy's comment. He said if Black people had freedom to be what we want, I don't think we would be hurt. See, Royce, that is a unfair statement, right? Because there's so many Black people, pretty much every Black person today is who they want to be. That is my belief. That is my opinion. Because we have Black people who are successful, right? We have Black people who we know came from the bottom and they here, right? Build their wealth. We know people even in this space right now who came from nothing and they grew everything that they got right here because they was able to utilize it for their benefit. People are who they are because that's who they want to be at this moment. It's nobody stopping them. Nobody's stopping them. Not right now. Nobody's stopping them. Before, That could have been a talk, right? Because there was only certain jobs, like they said, there was only certain jobs that we had, which was blue collar, manual labor jobs. But they stopped that how many years ago? How many years ago have they stopped that? We are who we are because we want to be who we are today. I cannot follow that. I can't follow that trope. I can't. I can't follow that talking point. I really can't. Because like I said, my background, listen, I didn't go, mind you, I'm about to retire. Shout out to me, almost 20 years in the armed forces, right? I'm about to retire. Praise be to God, because I'm tired of PT. I'm tired of running. But anyway, right? I didn't join the military because of what most people join the military for today. Some people join the military so they can get the extra money because they get to marry, they marry in the military, stuff like that. They do it for pension, right? It is a form of security. Absolutely right, right? It's a federal job. You do get perks and benefits for joining the military that a regular civilian don't, right? But I didn't join the military for them to pay for my school. I was already a college graduate when I joined in my early 20s. I was already a college graduate. I didn't have to. You know what I was doing before I joined the military? I had 2 jobs, right? I worked at the airport. Yeah, at first I worked at the airport. Then I was hired by my own college to work in administration in that college, right? So I worked administration in their college, and then I worked at the airport. Then from there, I left my job at the college, and I was a assistant teacher in a East New York, Brooklyn school, also working at the airport, and also still taking my classes to complete the extra minor in my degree. When I'm telling you, I went through a period, especially in my early 20s, while everybody else was out there partying, shaking a tail feather, shaking their ass and shit like that. I was literally up, up and out of my house 6 o'clock in the morning, in classes, at work, at both of these jobs, and I didn't reach home. And no, even after that, I would stop by the hospital because my grandmother was in the hospital at that time, and my father was in the hospital at that time because he was having open heart surgery, right? So I would go watch them and make sure everything's okay and everything like that while working 2 jobs and going to school full time. I would get up from 6 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't reach back home until maybe around like 10 to 11 p.m. and had to do that all over again. And I did that literally until I graduated, until I decided that, you know what, let me join the military. So, like I said, there's no excuses, man. There's no excuse. You are where you at because that's where you want to be. It's just as simple as that.
Sociologists who are going to help us along. Let me begin by introducing Dr. Bart Landry, who is author of The New Black Middle Class and is also an associate professor of sociology at the University of Maryland and a visiting scholar at the Joint Center for Political Studies. Welcome.
Thank you.
Next is eminent sociologist Jeannie Guy, who's with the Baltimore County Department of Personnel. Thanks for being here. Followed by Professor Martin Kilson, who is an associate professor of sociology at Harvard University. I want to thank all of you for being here.
Welcome.
Let's begin with trying to get an understanding of bourgeois. You know, we mentioned that the
Go in the corner, seahorse. Go in the corner, seahorse. We ain't doing that tonight. Ain't gonna be no back and forth about who is the better branch, all right? Don't be mad that the Air Force, okay, we score high on ASVABs. Okay? Don't get mad that we score high on our tests, okay? Go in the corner. Shout out to you, sir. Shout out to you.
We started looking at a black middle class sometime around the turn of the century and have tracked it over a period of time. Can we use the two terms, can we intersperse the two? Are they the same? When we say middle class, are we necessarily saying bourgeois and vice versa?
Well, I think bourgeois has a different connotation. Bourgeois really took on a negative connotation. It implied a group of people who are very self-centered in their lifestyle, in their aspirations, and the things they did. And middle class really doesn't have a negative connotation. It just says where you are in the economy. You have a pretty good job that with good income, stable, and you're able to afford the kind of things that we associate with the American dream.
Mm-hmm. And you also ascribe to a certain lifestyle, a middle-class lifestyle. But in agreement with what Bart is saying, but going a little further back, Karl Marx talked about the bourgeoisie as being those that owned the means of production, those that could provide for themselves and had people working for them. They actually owned the money, they owned the capital, they owned the equipment, and they paid people to produce.
Well, was this then ironic that E. Franklin Frazier would call the group that he settled on the black bourgeoisie, if you indeed adopt that definition from Marx?
Yeah, I mean, that was a misnomer. That I'm not sure why Frazier did it. One of the reasons might be because his book was already originally written in French, and there it was called bourgeoisie noire. And bourgeoisie was a term that was familiar in French, and it was translated. It would have been more accurate to call it middle class rather than the bourgeoisie.
Now, I have reread the black bourgeoisie, and I want to know, after all these years and looking back at it, why do you think, Professor Kilson, that he held the black bourgeoisie to such, in such scorn or disdain and actually caricatured them in a way?
Well, I think partly because Frazier worked and lived among a sector of the black American middle class that had a lot of frivolity attached to it, I'm afraid. I mean, a sector in Washington, D.C. And he thought that that was the universe of being black middle class, which it is not. And not only is the term bourgeois or bourgeoisie a term used for people who own capital, which is right, but I think it's best used for people who give leadership, who give direction.
I think there are some other dimensions to the black middle class that we might want to consider from a historical perspective, and that is skin color. Oftentimes, light-skinned blacks would consider themselves middle class because they had light skin and curly hair or straight hair.
Which meant that they were descendants
Which meant that they were descendants of slave masters. And so that alone would give them a certain type of status. Now, later on, they were able to get better jobs, have access to more opportunities in the society because of their skin color and the texture of their hair. However, now, the emphasis is on not only content of character, but on the skills and abilities that one brings to the employment office, to the boardroom, or wherever that person may be.
So it's quite interesting what kind of conversation they're having, right? Because what they are expressing that at one point, which is true, this is all documented, at one point, the lighter you are, the brighter you are. So when we had our red bones and our yellow bones and all the stuff like that, and the ones, even the women who can pass for white, they tend to have corporate jobs, right? They were the first ones in line to have administrative jobs, executive jobs, things of that sort, because it was more palatable to have people that was close in complexion to the predominant race, which would be white people in the country, before they started to make this whole transition. Now what this lady is explaining is that now they're looking for more than just what is palatable to look at. They were actually looking more for the expertise and the one who can actually do the job and be committed to working the job, whatever the schedule is, and things of that sort. So it started to be more balanced. People wasn't, you know, people wasn't just only getting picked because they were light skinned. Now you had to have the qualifications, right? Now you had to have the resume and the education behind it. So this is when it started to become more balanced in reference to Black people, joining the white collar industry. Yes, and Dr. Still, this is around the 80s. 80s, I would say 80s going into the 90s, but definitely this is the 80s era. Yep.
Regardless as to the shade of their skin or the texture of their hair,
Are we then looking at a difference?
Or the physiognomy that they portray. If they have Negroid features, if you look evidently Black like I do, or if you would tend to be sort of marginal, where you weren't able to distinguish if you were of the Black race or of the white race, or mixed.
Okay, but are we looking at a difference now then in definition of middle class? Were there certain things that were part of the middle class in the 1950s and 60s that is different in the 70s and 80s?
But those things, didn't define the middle class even in the 50s or the 40s. Those things defined the status structure of the Black community, who were seen as the most desirable people within the community. If you go far back enough, Blacks who worked in the homes of rich whites shared the highest status in the community. Caterers in downtown restaurants, or head waiters in downtown restaurants. Those were all status considerations, nothing to do with class.
BT?
Yeah, let's take a question from our studio audience. Yes, sir.
I believe that the Black people who are rising towards prominence and are in a race to achieve middle class status have forgotten about their children and forgot to teach them the values and instill in them the knowledge that they have to work to get what they want instead of giving it to them. You believe that it will ruin a whole generation of children because we are spoon feeding them and turning them into the partiers and the people who want to achieve for themselves?
I think enjoying a wholesome and full life has always been a part of Americans. And we are part of America. We are Americans. We just happen to be Black. So partying is a part of our lifestyle, a part of our history. But I don't think that we are not passing on values to younger generations. I think that we are. They're still going to school. They're being educated. They are still going to church. They are still working part-time jobs to augment their income from parents to educate themselves. So I can't see that that's a real consideration at this point.
The middle class has found out is that.
So what that Black man asked was a excellent question, right? Woo, shout out to him. Very, very good question, right? Because even what Dr. Still is saying, we are seeing some of the results of that, right? Because at one point it was make sure we get our children the life that we never had. Make sure our kids don't struggle the way that we had to struggle. And in our pursuit to hit to the highest part of the ceiling, we lost the value of teaching our children about hard work to reach those same type of levels that we went to, right? Because we wanted to make sure that our kids didn't have to go through what we had to go through. And by us giving our kids the life that we didn't give them, they don't understand all the trials and tribulations of what we had to go through to even make it look like it's easy for them, right? And that is a art. right? You know, that's an art, that's a lost art, a lost skill. How to create balance within that. And it's hard because even in America, America in general is all about, some people are going to work hard and they're going to understand the value of working hard and the labor that they put into the things that they're interested in and being successful in it. And some people are going to get it freely, right? And then it's going to be this kind of coddling or this kind of spoil type of mentality that can breed between it. And at one point, America, we had a balance. We don't have a balance anymore. And that is not only just within our community, this is just America within itself. America within itself lost the balance between appreciating hard work, determination, discipline, and the fruits of our labor. And we see it now. We see it now how the youth are conducting themselves. We see it now that anybody can obtain large amount of money and wealth. And what are they known for doing, right? They can be literally known for being an imbecile online and garnish a whole bunch of wealth. And just like I had said yesterday, someone, for example, as the richest black man in the world, a lot of people didn't even know his name and didn't even know that he owned a tech company, right? So again, there is a balance that has been lost within our society in general of, yes, give our kids the fruits of the labor, you know what I'm saying? But then also implicate understanding discipline, understanding the journey, right? Appreciating and valuing the journey of all your hard work, all your hard efforts, the days that you didn't sleep, the days when you had to stay up when you wasn't feeling well, you know, the days when you had to go to work and you know you wasn't in the right state of mind, mentally, emotionally, physically. You know, where is the value and appreciation to that? There is none. There is none. So I do believe, yes, I do believe that he hit that on right on the nail of asking that question. And at that time, that lady believed that, you know, those things were still happening. But we can see that it has been for a very long time. I think definitely for the past 20, 30 years, it has been a ride. It has been a ride or a roller coaster all the way to the top, and who's going to get there to the top first. And everything else took a hit. Everything else took a hit. We didn't keep the foundations of things.
Having reached the middle class doesn't mean you automatically are able to live the way you expected to be able to live. Blacks need two incomes, and even with two incomes as a group, have lower family income and individual income than whites.
Okay, Professor Kilson, would you?
Well, I think there's one point to make. In addition to what Professor Landry has made, that is that I think the middle class is growing in terms of the addition of qualitatively new kinds of skills, new kinds of occupations that just weren't available. I mean, 3 black lawyers who became financial managers last year brought over Beatrice Corporation. Beatrice is about a $2.8 billion corporation. You got financial managers at all level of national and international financial management on a scale heretofore, you know, unavailable, and that's true in other fields too, in the scientific fields, computer fields and so forth and so on.
Well, I think that the black middle class is growing, but I think that if we're headed for a recession within the next 2 years, the first people that will be the ones to have to leave the work world will be blacks. And we will regress rather than progress in our statistics, as Dr. Landry
Yeah, but
is
I think
projecting.
we will always regress relative to others. I mean, it won't be back to zero.
Okay, we're
so that's important. But I think you're right. Yeah, there's still racism around, and we have to face
That's
that.
another factor.
At the same time, it's not what it was in 1931 when I was born.
I agree with you, but I have no basis of comparison to 1931.
Right. We were.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Put a 1 up in the chat if y'all enjoyed hearing that wonderful, profound conversation amongst our black elites, our black professionals. So we were having these conversations. We were even thinking about things that were happening that could happen 20 years prior. And look at that. The things that they're talking about now is the things that literally happen. So once again, this is just to show you that we was doing some amazing things, guys. We were doing so amazing things, and these things don't get highlighted. These people who've been working and doing their best, thinking about our future as black people, black Americans, we don't pay them homage. We don't pay them homage and we don't acknowledge them. They were having conversations that we should be having today, right? And they was literally predicting what was going to happen in the year that we're living in now. So I hope y'all enjoy that. So now I'm going to keep on with the keep on, right? So now I'm going to show you another one. And this is called the Bourgeoisie Blues, America's Black Middle Class. Okay, people like us. So we're going to look at this. This one should be a little shorter. All right, let me put it on my screen. Okay, let me have my... And if you're just coming in or whatever not, just make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, comment, everything to help out this channel. Like I said, I'm trying to have this neutral channel here for you guys where we can have concerns, black women and black men, anybody pretty much. Because, I talk about a lot of psychology. I talk about a lot of things that is affecting the United States society as a whole. But I do focus on a lot with my community because I do care about my community, right? And I do care about the things that's going on too. So if you're enjoying the content, or if you know somebody that would like to have these type of discussions and or content, please make sure you subscribe or share to them so they can enjoy it as well. All right, so let's get into it. This is not the right one. Hold on.
So I want to get to a clip of Sally.
That is not the right one. That's supposed to come later. So let me get the right one for you guys. Okay. I think I found it now. That is the tag. I got a sneak peek. Darn it. All right, here we go. This is the bourgeoisie blues. Okay.
I am from the middle class because that's what I was born and raised, and that's how I live. Socioeconomically, statistically, we are middle class. But we're black middle class, and we will always have that word black in front of us until the day I die.
In a society haunted by race, being both middle class and black poses a special set of dilemmas. Over the last generation, more and more blacks have moved into the ranks of the middle class, highlighting class differences that lurk just beneath the surface of African American life.
Class is a very uncomfortable topic for all Americans, and I think it's especially uncomfortable for Black Americans. I think it's offensive to some people to think that there is a class structure in Black America. I think that's probably rooted in the fact that minorities who have been oppressed in America do not ever want to be perceived as oppressive.
I think poor African Americans believe that we are like white people and that we are uppity.
I can't tell you how many niggas I've been called because I just wanted something better. That's it.
You think you better, you think you cute.
You talk funny, or you think that you're white, or you act white.
It was not a compliment for somebody to say you're bourgeois at all, because it just put you in a different class.
I didn't know Buppie growing up. I didn't hear Buppie until I was in D.C. I'm sure Buppie was born in D.C. And I'm walking down the street and I hear somebody say, "Oh, are you?" Because I wouldn't speak. It was some guys, with no teeth, drinking wine on the corner. And they're like, "Yo, hey, sweetie, yo, baby, da, da."
I don't know, like there was this one guy who said, was talking about something and he said epitome instead of like epitome. And it's just like, that can't happen because it's very embarrassing.
It's somehow more comfortable dealing with extremes. The jail to Yale stories. They had rats for dinner. The mother had 40 children by different men. Like that kind of crazy, and he ended up graduating head of his class at Yale. Oh, goodness, great. I think that's just where a lot of people are comfortable. I remember, when I was working at People, and a guy who, considers himself a card-carrying liberal who, wrote books about what a liberal he was, turned to me and said, "Oh, I know, you're Cosby Show black." And this is when the Cosby Show was on. And I know he wasn't trying to insult me. He thought he was giving me a compliment because he thought that meant he was really seeing me.
White people want to give you this backhanded compliment. They say things to you like, "Oh, you're so articulate." Or, "Oh, you really write well." One of my friends is a Stanford graduate, law school graduate, policy advocate, doing very well. And she mentioned that one of her coworkers said, "Oh, you write so well." Well, the assumption is, that she shouldn't be able to write well, but why shouldn't she?
I mean, I've always heard it before that, you're not like the other black folks. I mean, I heard that when I first started working, but you're not like the rest of them, and that probably offended me more than anything else.
These days, many upwardly mobile blacks have moved to the suburbs, far away from the poor and the working class.
This is my A. Julian book.
open it. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor. I want to be able to help other people like doctors because they're good to people.
Yet, mindful of how race still rules in America, many upper middle class blacks have flocked to a small group of elite African American social organizations. One of the most popular is Jack and Jill.
I'm gonna draw the swirl.
For 65 years, it served as a social incubator for the children of high-achieving parents.
Come on. No, you're cool, baby. You look good. You look good. You look good.
One exhibit shows, a lot of upper female body parts. They're just going to walk right by that one picture.
Jack and Jill was a place where a lot of us were expected to find our future spouses. There's no question about it. And I remember whenever the Jack and Jill Up the Hill yearbook would come out, my mom would come home from the meeting and we would go through it and see who we knew in different cities because it told what everybody was doing, particularly the graduating Jack and Jill students who are going off to like which colleges. And so we'd look to see, well, who's going off to our school? And when my brother went off to Tufts, we went to see, okay, who's going off and who will he know and who would he date and all that kind of stuff. And the thing about it is there's no question about it, that was going to be at least a part of the world from which we were going to find our future spouse.
You have to be invited to join. And if you don't meet the general group's criteria, you don't get invited.
I understand the purpose of...
But what seems comfortable to one group can seem exclusive to others, and conflicting viewpoints about clubs like Jack and Jill mirror the dilemma that the black middle class finds itself in.
Yeah, if we want to talk about class, Jack and Jill was a
Here
part.
we fought to be invited into the country clubs. Then we start our own club, and still we have to be invited. That's where the rage comes from.
Was not there an air of superiority with that? That came up.
So I have a video for you. So everybody who don't know what the Jack and Jill of America is, it's been around since 1936. And yes, it is a part of our Black elite. If you don't know what the links are, pretty much the links are the female boule, right? And you have to be invited or you have to be legacy to join these organizations that have been around for over 70 years, right? And I understand what the lady was saying because there was a point where, yes, you were not allowed to go to country clubs and golf clubs and stuff like that were primarily, private and white organizations and institutions. And to have these elite social organizations that are Black and also still have to be invited and such, I understand her disappointment, right? But the simple fact is that at the end of the day, even with these white institutions, even with these white organizations, these country clubs and things of that sort, not every white person is a part of them either, right? They're exclusive for a reason, right? There's certain things that they're looking for. There's certain professions that they're looking for. You have to show strong community, community background, like supporting the community and stuff like that. These are certain things that they're looking for. Education. There's other things, but every exclusive organization or any club or anything like that, there's requirements, there's qualifications. And if you don't meet them, then you're not going to be accepted, okay? And I don't think it's a slight. I don't think it should be a slight to Black people for having exclusive type of clubs and organizations, due to the simple fact is that if everybody is let in, then it's no longer exclusive, right? It's no longer exclusive. And then if everybody don't meet the requirements that get accepted in there, right? Let's say, for example, this person, and mind you, it's the qualifications doesn't necessarily have to be because you don't come from a wealthy family, right? that was never something that you will be excluded from, right? It's because if it's like I said, if it's education, if it's your career, you know what your career field position is, your community service, right? These are the things that tend to let you get invited in it, right? And if you didn't have that, right, you didn't show that your community service mindset, you don't have good grades, or you're a dropout, you fell out, right? And let's say your job per se, not necessarily that there was turning down anybody who was blue collar, but let's say if your job was like, you know, a fast food worker, right? To these exclusive clubs is like, if that's what you're doing now and you've been comfortable with doing it after a while, because mind you, to get in these clubs, you have to have an interview, right? You have to be interviewed, you have to board, okay? It's a board of election. You have to board to get into these type of things. Even if you are a legacy, even if you have family members that are a part of these organizations who can sponsor you, you still have to board and meet those qualifications. Your legacy is only going to get you but so far. But there's a reason why they do it. So we can't let everybody in, because that it will ruin what type of organization that they have, what their standards is, right? And what they're trying to achieve. And we have seen what happens when we let everybody come to the cookout. We're dealing with that now. Usually when we allow everybody to come to the cookout, what happened? They end up changing the foundation of that organization, or they end up taking whatever they can take from the cookout and then now claiming it as their own. There's a reason behind these things, and we're just going to have to accept it.
Along with it, yes.
And that's the part I didn't like. If you don't have an MD after your name, guess what? Your kid is not going to get in there. And that's the way it is today.
Or you're a single parent.
Or you're a single parent. Right. I talked to someone who was in Jack and Jill. I said, send me an application. Did I get one?
No.
So, and it's teaching them the wrong values. So it's teaching the children to be like the oppressor. You know, if you're like them, then maybe they'll accept you. But it's never going to happen.
Debutante Morgan Gabrielle Brooks.
Unlike their white counterparts, middle-class African Americans have to balance their desire to move up with the need for racial solidarity in a country where skin color is still what is noticed the most.
A member of the National Honor Society, Team Secretary for Jack and Jill, her motto is, aspire to be the best for myself.
We're just normal people trying to do the same thing you're trying to do wherever you are, Hoboken or wherever, Warsaw. They're all trying for the same thing, to get up by your bootstrap, but you have to have boots first.
We should be encouraging our community to strive. Every group in America has come to America with the goal of becoming middle class. So why should we suddenly be the only group that identifies becoming middle class as this nasty word of calling bouginess? I think it's almost a reverse brainwash, that somehow attaining success means losing your roots.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Millennium Magic Debutante 2000.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that. That was a little, more current discussion about the bourgeoisie or the bougie middle class Black folks. As you see, we still have debutante balls. We still have coalitions. We still have all of that. And like I said, I did have a surprise for you guys that we're going to go over the Jack and Jill of America. I do know some people don't know what the Jack and Jill of America is. So I actually found a lady who's online I've been following her for many years. She started in 2017, 18, and she has grown her channel to at least 40,000 subscribers. And her name is Lady Boule. She is a part of the Boule, and she do great content. So please go, if you want to follow her, please go follow her. Like I said, she's amazing. I love all her stuff. I really do. She's a great person, and I love her voice too. Just so nice. It's really so nice. So I got this video for you. She's going to explain to you about the Jack and Jill of America, what it offers African American children. Let's get into it.
A while ago, a viewer or a subscriber asked if I would do a video on Jack and Jill of America. I think this is a good time to do that because there's so much shocking stuff going on with African Americans. You barely get over one shock when another one hits you in the face. So this seems like the perfect time to report on an organization that is designed to nurture and develop leadership among African American children. Jack and Jill of America Incorporated is a membership organization of mothers with children ages 2 through 19 dedicated to nurturing future African American leaders by strengthening children through leadership development, volunteer service, philanthropic giving, and civic duty. The current president of Jack and Jill of America is Cornisha McGill Brown. She was elected the 27th National President at the 44th National Convention in 2020. In her inaugural address, she stated her goals and objectives for the organization. They are to provide strategic direction and operational excellence, enhance membership satisfaction, expand educational and cultural opportunities, create harmonious sisterly relationships, advocate as change agents and policy influencers, leverage the power of technology, and protect their branding. Their national board includes the president, vice president, treasurer, program director, recording secretary, corresponding secretary, and national editor. The name Jack and Jill is obviously taken from the nursery rhyme, Jack and Jill went up the hill, and it is about children. The children in the organization are divided into age groups: 2 through 5, 6 through 9, 9 through 12, 12 through 14, and 9th grade through 12th grade. They take part in cultural activities, fundraising, leadership training, legislative events, and social events. They have 7 regions across the country. They're divided into 7 regions, and they are all over the country. They have a central region, eastern region, far west region, mid-Atlantic region, midwestern region, south central region, and a southeastern region. There are 252 chapters, and they represent more than 40,000 families. Each region plans its own activities, but they have 5 points that they focus on. They are cultural awareness, educational development, health, civic and legislative advocacy, and social and recreational areas. The mothers hold the membership in Jack and Jill, but the fathers play an important role in helping them to carry out their programs. The Fathers Auxiliary is one of 3 standing committees in the organization, so the fathers are very important to the success of Jack and Jill, but they admit the mothers run the show. I spoke with the Jack and Jill mom as I prepared this video, and I asked her about the involvement of the fathers, and she said yes, their involvement is very important to the success of the program. She said first and foremost, they come with a pocketbook, so they pay up for their children to have these experiences. And she also said that in their chapter, they had recently taken the train to the Atlanta Zoo. The fathers drove behind them because they weren't going to take the train back.
So look at that. Look at that. Look at the fathers. Look at them fathers there who came and make sure that their children get the best that they possibly be to be a part such of a elite organization, which they will most likely find their spouse or their mate there. So it's literally keeping excellence, marrying, mating, and dating excellence. And they're there, they're active, they're a big support. They're not out of that, you know what I'm saying? Yes, you're absolutely right. The 100 Black Men, yes, that program, I know that one too, Dr. Still, absolutely. Yes, so shout out to them. Shout out to these fathers, you know? See, I'm not that hard. I can be fair, I can be even.
They left the zoo, went out to dinner, had a sightseeing tour of Atlanta, and spent the night in a downtown hotel. She said it was really wonderful experience. Children always love the zoo, I know that. And so a mom had planned this activity, and she said it was wonderful because it gave the children time to spend together, to interact with each other, but it also gave the families an opportunity to bond together. So she said it was really an outstanding event. And sometimes the moms get together and go to the spa or go to the theater or the movies together. So they do things together, just moms, but the program, the organization is centered around the children. This mom also told me that they have their own brand of cute clothes, sweaters, jackets, purses, jewelry. So just to add a touch of glamour and vanity, they have their own brand. Jack and Jill of America Incorporated was founded on January 24th, 1938 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania by the late Marion Stubbs Thomas. 20 mothers came together to discuss creating an organization to provide social, cultural, and educational opportunities for youth between the ages of 2 and 19. These were African American mothers living in the Northeast, living in affluent neighborhoods, many of them all white or mostly white. Their children were going to schools with mostly white children, and they wanted their children to meet and network with other affluent African American children. This was the motivation behind establishing Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. This is a program that not just talks the talk, they walk the walk. These parents, these Jack and Jill mothers, are very involved. This is a very hands-on, involved organization. Now I want to quickly say, when I was talking to some Jack and Jill moms, the question of whether or not a single mom could join the organization came up. And what this Jack and Jill mom said was that there is nothing in their constitution or bylaws that would prevent single mothers from joining the organization. Many people say that it's an elitist organization full of snobs, but what Jack and Jill moms tell me is that it depends on where you are. However, they say, if you are a family on a budget, it can be expensive. To belong to the Jack and Jill organization, you have to pay an initiation fee, and then you have to pay annual dues. There are activities that you have to be engaged in, and they can be expensive. The teenagers have a regional conference every year, and they have a national conference every 2 years. They don't have to participate in everything, but they are required to participate in some things. I asked some Jack and Jill teenagers if they liked the program, and they said they did. They said they go on fun-filled.
So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this was an exclusive organization, and then now they have actually opened it up recently because this video is not that old. You can go on her channel. She did this review on the Jack and Jill, I think 2 years ago. So now they are accepting single parents. It doesn't matter if you're a mom or a dad. They are accepting single parents. You just have to pay for membership, and you have to pay your annual membership to be a part of the Jack and Jill. You also have to do a certain amount of community service when they have events and stuff that's put within your region, okay? So now there is no excuse, ladies and gentlemen. The cry that it was before back in the 80s that Black people who didn't fit these qualifications couldn't go in there. You can now join these organizations. However, you have to keep up with your membership. You have to keep up with your community service. You have to, you have to be all in and committed and show discipline. If not, you will lose your membership. It is what it is. But this is definitely a great organization for networking, definitely getting your children the skills and the tools that they need to actually have proper career development, and to take actual leadership positions in our society as a person of color, as a Black person. So now you have this information, it is out there, utilize it to your benefit. Okay?
Field trips. They go to out-of-town conferences, out-of-state conferences in some cases, where they get to meet new teenagers. And sometimes those friendships last through college, I have been told. They like the program because they have dances, they have parties, they have the cotillion and the debutante balls where the young women come out to society and the young men escort them. And they say they like the program. The national theme of Jack and Jill is the power to make a difference. They are trying to make a difference in the lives of African American children, and they are trying to build leadership among these children to change the image of Black teenagers, for one thing, because the national image of African American teenagers is a negative, stereotypical image. In 2013, they established the National Teen Board, and the purpose of this was to give teenagers a voice on the national level. This board is represented each one of the regions. Again, each region has its own teen president, and they serve as role models and examples of the Jack and Jill product. And these children are very bright. I know several of them. They are very bright and they are very focused. And these are some of the children, some of the African American children that you can count on to get scholarships to college, and in some cases full ride scholarships, because this program, this organization heavily focuses on education. Jack and Jill of America has a number of partners and sponsors, and Morehouse College is a partner with their cultural awareness program. In their educational program, they support early childhood literacy, they have leadership and officer skills training, they have financial modules that are sponsored by Wells Fargo.
So before she continued on with all their sponsorships and other companies that Jack and Jill is associated with and affiliated with, I'm going to read off what it says on the screen for you guys. So these are some of the affiliations that Jack and Jill have. They have the American Red Cross, they have the BOKS, they have the Children Defense Fund, the Crown Act, Dove, Inroads, March of Dimes, Morehouse College, Morgan Stanley, National Cares Mentoring Movement, National Medical Association, Natural Grocers, Sunrise, St. Jude's Children Research Hospital, and When We All Vote. Okay? Let's go on.
Fargo Bank. They focus on college and career readiness. They have STEAM webinars where they focus on science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics for children, teens, and moms. And they also focus on closing the wealth gap and creating generational wealth for African Americans. The Health Thrust is to address health inequalities in the American healthcare system, and also to teach children to create healthy habits from childhood to adulthood. They also address teenage health issues and mental health. I cannot stress enough that these mothers are very dedicated mothers who carry through with these programs. And it is a wonderful program for African American children, and it's probably something that a lot of people don't know about. But this is a whole different world than this negative stereotypes that most African American adolescents and teenagers have to carry. One of the great things that they do with their teenagers is their On the Hill Summit. This is where Jack and Jill teenagers from across the country go to Washington, D.C. and advocate for legislation. They meet with congressmen, both Democrat and Republican, from both the House and the Senate. In September of 2019, over 1,000 Jack and Jill teenagers from over 200 chapters went to Washington, D.C. and met with congressmen to advocate for voter registration, equity in education, and gun violence prevention. This was actually really interesting, and of course these children are supported by their parents, but this is something that they're doing to teach and instill leadership in them, and for them to take ownership of their communities and their country and participate fully in the American society. Jack and Jill's annual publication is called Scope, and it highlights their programs and their theme, The Power to Make a Difference. When I talked to one Jack and Jill mother, she said that this organization is about children. We are about raising healthy, functional, involved African American children to be the best that they are capable of being. And to that end, they create programs and they continue to evolve. When they see another need, they create another program. That is what I see with Jack and Jill mothers and Jack and Jill families. And it is important that the African American family is emphasized somewhere. The Jack and Jill model instills into African American children the concept of positive input and positive outcomes. It also strives to alleviate the negative thinking and negative stereotypes of African American people. One of the things that I think African Americans, we African Americans have to kind of know, and then we can have a conversation with people when they try to throw this at us. It does not matter how big a city is in America. It does not matter how bad the neighborhoods are. It does not matter how much crime is going on in that city. No matter where they are, there are clusters of African American people doing good things, doing what is right and doing what is positive to uplift those communities. It is important for African American children to grow up knowing that there is an avenue to success for them, and it is the responsibility of their parents to provide those opportunities. Jack and Jill is one way to help African American children to collaborate with each other and to support each other and to encourage each other in the knowledge that there is a way forward for them in a positive and progressive way. And there should be other Jack and Jill organizations. As I said before, if you live in a mid-sized town or a small town, and you can start your own Jack and Jill organization according to them, and I'll give the contact information in just a minute. But there needs to be more organizations like this where people are dedicated, where they are disciplined, and where they have standards and values. They're taking in members all the time. And this organization focuses on African American children, improving them, growing them in all aspects of society, from culture to education to health. They train them in all areas of growth and development. So, number one is invitation only. You do have to be invited by somebody in the organization that's in good standing. You have to have children between the ages of 2 and 19. You do have to understand that these things cost money. This thing is expensive. So that's how come I say there should be some other organizations maybe like Jack and Jill that may not be as expensive. Because if you're living in a big city, it's expensive. But if you're living in a smaller environment, a smaller market, it wouldn't be as hard to get in. I know people in Atlanta who live in metro area, but they join the Jack and Jill chapters in some of the smaller counties where the lifestyle of the people might be different, may not be as affluent, but the mothers are just as serious about raising their children in a positive and healthy way. And also, sometimes when the chapters are so large, they don't take in new membership. So that's a chance for somebody who's really interested to start another chapter or start something similar to Jack and Jill where you can give your child the best chance for growth and development. But Jack and Jill is a wonderful organization for African American families, and I would encourage you to go to their website and also go to their Facebook page. It tells you a lot about the things that they are doing, and it might be something that you would want your children or grandchildren to be a part of. So check them out and see what you think. Their address is Jack and Jill Incorporated, 1930 17th Street Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20009. Telephone number 202-667-7010. And their contact email info@jackandjill.org. Check them out and see what you think. And so I will part with this. Check it out for yourself if you're interested. Don't let somebody else discourage you based on what they said or what they said somebody else said or what they said somebody else's experience was. You can find a match. If you're interested, you can find a match. So check them out, and I'm pretty sure they will work with you if you're really interested in being a part of that organization. Okay, thank you for listening. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.
Yeah, so like I said, please go and check out Miss Lady Boulay. She is the lady right there in the black with the pearls, beautiful woman. Go check out her channel if you want to know more about Black excellence and also more about the Boulay, and also her current topics and current events of what she's saying. She has very good content. Shout out to this lady. I definitely enjoy following her content. I really do. She's amazing. And there's a reason why her following grew so fast in the course of over like three years. So shout out to that lady. All right. So are y'all still with me? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all still with me. You still rocking with me? I have 3 more videos to show you guys, and then we'll be heading out, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. So the next video I have for you is about the links. Like, again, if you don't know about the Links Incorporated, this is another Black excellence, Black elite organization. I know about the links. I'm not going to tell you really how much well, pretty much. I ain't going to tell you all my business, my personal business, but I know the links. Great company. This is the female Boulay. And usually the men of the Boulay, they will marry women from this this corporation. Okay, so I wanted to show you the legacy. They brung up about it. They talked about it recently. Oh, Dr. Still, you heard of them? Great, excellent. Yes. So like I said, this goes back to early 1800s. This is literally, they've been around since after slavery. Okay, so this is the elite, as elite as you get. So we're gonna learn about some of our greatness. Okay, so more. Stay tuned. Kick it with me. This shouldn't be this long. Okay. All right, here we go. They were talking about this Women's History Month, so they'll let you know the history of the links. Not gonna let y'all know all my personal business, but just listen to this.
Unique and growing organization around the world, 16,000 members strong. The Links Incorporated, women connecting with each other and their communities in a powerful way. Take a look.
During the Great Migration, right at the end of World War II, that's when the Links was founded. And people were migrating to Philadelphia and other northern cities because they wanted to escape the racism and the lynchings of the South.
Our co-founders, Margaret Roselle Hawkins and Sarah Strickland Scott, they saw a need to support educational opportunities and cultural opportunities. And so what they did is they called these friends of theirs together, and in their kitchen table, they formed the Philadelphia Club. And that was our very first club in this organization.
We wanted to thank the Philadelphia chapter of the Links for presenting this donation to us, which we greatly, greatly appreciate.
75 years later, the members commit to at least a minimum of 48 hours of public service. It's the largest professional club organization in the United States,
the UK, and the Bahamas.
Service is hard work. We have a legacy. Philadelphia chapter is our legacy, and we build upon the legacy of founders and the charter members of the Philadelphia chapter, which was the Philadelphia Club. And from that, the groundwork was laid for us to be where we are today.
For me, being a link, I never realized how much it was a big part of who I am. I don't know of many organizations where you have professional women who are focused on not just serving their community, but also uplifting each other. Because as Black women, we don't get that from the society at large.
Madam President, thank you for allowing me to come by.
So when you think about the over 16,000 members in the Links Incorporated, they are each bringing something phenomenal, transformative to the table. We have links in all professions. You see glass ceilings being broken, they're probably being broken by the links. We're proud to say that our Vice President of the United States is an honorary link. We all are moving towards the same goal, and that is serving our communities. But as links, we know that there are things that we are building on, that the legacy that was left of us and the legacy that we continue to build as we move through our 75th year and the next 75 and beyond.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube.
So that was a little surprise for you guys. If y'all didn't know, our Vice President Kamala Harris is a link. So, yeah, great history, great excellence, Black excellence. We know what we don't, trust me, I understand she's not technically a Black woman, but she is a link. And there's a very strong history within that. So I'm glad y'all liked the whole success part of the show. Now I'm going to talk about the Black love, right? So like I said, this is in dedication to the Black love, to all the Black couples and marriages that have been successful and the ones that are currently going on today that are actually finding community and working with each other, staying strong with each other, linking up with each other, having events. If you don't know, there is a YouTube channel called Black Love that is literally outlined and designed specifically to talk about the tales and the love stories of Black people, right? And they had an event, they had a couple events, but I wanted to showcase one of the events that they have because you can actually, if you go on their channel and if you are married or you're in a relationship and you want to actually join one of these events where they have their little rom-coms and they sit together and they have their speaking and stuff about what is going on new in age when it comes down to marriages and relationship, how can they strengthen their families, how they can strengthen the family as in a community. They have these events. You can actually purchase tickets if they're in your area, your local area at that time, and go to these events. And I think that this is a great resource for Black family, Black community, and Black couple. Okay, so let me just pull one up for you guys. All right, so this one is the Black love growing through the changes. This was a happened not too long ago, but this is another event that they had where it was almost like thousands of people there. But this is good. Let's look over this one.
Because I think that the way that we as individuals, and like I said, this year was very interesting for me, so this stuck out to me. We had the interview, and then I think I saw the footage later, and it hit me so hard. But the way that we evolved as individuals and as women in relationships.
I realized that when I became more of who I really was, we could communicate better. Because when we first started dating, I just wanted him to be with me so much that I was willing to say yes to anything. I don't like when you do this. This is okay. Are you gonna do that again? No. And like, so whatever I had to say to keep you around, but I'm not being me. And but then he had to adjust to the person who's going, no, that's who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is the career I want. This is where, but I was willing, but then that makes me a liar. Then he'd be like, you lied. But I lied because I wanted to be with you. Like it became this circle of, well, but I lied because I loved you, but I thought I could not do that, but I could, it was just a whole thing. And now I just am who I am. And I hope you accept it.
She's cool.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I would love to find out if you have any experience with that, Melissa, and then of course if you want to say more about it, but I definitely relate to it. It is 2019 for me. He is just like, who are you? And I'm like, you just got to go along with it.
It's like, this isn't where it was or who I signed up to be with, but
at my core, I am. The same.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like on the other side, it's an interesting journey because there is a sense of was like, well, this isn't the contract that we agreed to. It's not. It's like, this isn't where we were. It's like, I was okay with that. We were cool and I was happy. And it's just like, you're like, nah, fuck that.
But when I look back at that and, we were all younger too. And, and you don't necessarily completely know your truth yet. Right. You haven't completely embraced your strength yet. So luckily, and to stay married with people, you have to embrace the change. You have to embrace the growth and the strength. I think that a lot of that, besides that I just wanted him to accept me, and I was afraid that if I wasn't everything he needed me to be, he wouldn't stay. But I also grew up. Right. And I knew that we get along better if I'm just honest in my truth. Yes. If I go, now that doesn't mean it's all gonna work out, but I can say, I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with that. He can give his opinion and I can go, well, I don't, you can do what you want to do. I don't agree, but at least I'm saying it. And still, even now, it's hard for me to do that. But I'm not afraid anymore he's going anywhere. I'm like, well, I don't like it. Good luck. You gonna find somebody else? Good. Go have a good time. Good luck with that. And I'm just more confident in who I was. So I think,
So Alpha said that some of these women just need to leave their marriages. Yes and no, because of the simple fact is it depends, right? It depends. I think what she's explaining is that what she's explaining is in the beginning when they started the relationship, we all know that the representative comes first, right? Anybody who's starting to date in the beginning, the representative come first. You want to show off your best attributes about yourself, right? And it's not until later on when you start to actually learn one another, you start to see the other side that you didn't see when y'all was just going on dates and when y'all were just being cute and it was the honeymoon stage. Now you start to see the person for what they truly is. You start to see when they're down. You start to see when they have anxiety. You're now seeing that how their house look or how they operate with daily activities when they're under a certain amount of stress, they're not feeling good, all these type of things, right? And what she said is that she had to still learn to get comfortable with herself because there was the fear that if she did not continue to act or keep up with how she felt or what she was doing when they first got together, and these couples been married for quite some time. Then this is not like some new marriage. They've been married for, I think everybody on that couch been married for over like 10 years. So what she's trying to say is that in the beginning, she had this fear that she had to continue to be the woman that she was when they got together when they were younger, because she felt that if she did not be that person, that he would end up going away, which is ironic, right? Because of the simple fact is that that's what we hear a lot of the men in these spaces say, right? A lot of the men in these spaces say that women are lying to them from the beginning about who they are and that they're okay with all this stuff like that. And then when they get into the midst of it and now they don't want to do it anymore, they said that they did a 360 on them and then they end up leaving the marriage, right? And that's because those particular type of men do not understand that you are going to change in a relationship or in a marriage, right? You are not going to be the same person you were year one, right? Things are going to change. And the longer you stay with someone, the more you open up and let your guard down to let other parts of yourself be shown to this person, right? So those type of men are not accepting of the change. They don't want the change. The way how they're looking about their mate is supposed to be a robot. And as of being a robot, you can, unless you program it to a different plan or a different program, that robot is going to consistently do exactly what it did before unless you change it. And your wife, or let alone your husband, this other human being that you're in a relationship with, is going to change, right? So if you're not willing to embrace the change that will happen in your relationships or in your marriage, and you don't have that real commitment to that person, you only have the commitment to what benefits you get out of the relationship, you're always going to fail. You're always going to fail. So I like the fact that she expressed that it was at one point that her husband, he understood that she was changing and he allowed enough room for her to grow into learning who she is now, her wants, her likes, her needs, and all the stuff like that. And also he gave her the confidence. He gave her the confidence to realize that I love you for you. You don't have to only just show me the quote unquote good of, the good part of you. I love everything about you and we're in this together. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's commendable because like I said, a lot of people, especially when we see the divorce rates and how people within the 3 to 5 years are higher rates now of getting divorced. It's literally because they're not accepting the change in the relationship. They're not accepting that. And then now they're mistaking the change that will gradually happen in any relationship and marriage. They're mistaking it as this person has been deceitful and that this is who they truly is. And I have been fooled, per se. I mean, Alpha, it could be a possibility, but then here's the thing. Are you going to say as a man that all men cheat? Now they say all good-looking bros cheat. No. How about all men cheat? Because I know a lot of ugly dudes who cheat too. See, I don't think you want to go there.
A part of it is just growth and becoming a woman and not a girl anymore.
But I think there's also the guy side of growing and learning that it's perfectly okay. Yeah. Because there's a big part of it where it's resistance, where it's like, that's not how things were. Right. That's not what you said we were. And that's not what I got comfortable with.
Let me tell you right now,
if you're doing life correctly, you're supposed to be constantly evolving. Right. If you're constantly evolving, you're constantly changing. So the person that I was in a relationship with 22 years ago is not even here. She's not even here. I don't know where that chick went. All I know is this. I have to constantly redate my wife. Because she's constantly evolving, she's constantly changing, and so am I. Guess what? Does that dude 22 years ago, he ain't here either. Thank you, Jesus. So, look, my marriage began the day that I stopped trying to fix my wife.
Yeah, y'all can talk.
And here's how I even arrived at that. When I realized that I was trying to fix my wife to get her to accommodate things that were broken in me.
Come on, Del Drake. Let's go.
I'm just giving you the truth. As you need that repeated? Is that yes? Okay, let me give you an example. I remember. The book is called, you better sit up. You better sit up. You better sit up. I'm somebody different too. You better sit up. Male versus man. Every man that you meet is a male, but not every male that you meet is a man. My manhood began the day that I stopped doing things that I had to lie about. Once I got to that point, when I began matriculating into my own manhood, there was no reason for me to have to fix her. Because my business became about me fixing me. Now, I am the leader of my house. Period. With her sitting right here, with her someplace else, it don't matter. That's not a discussion. My job as a man is to do what I was supposed to do when God created me. His intention was for me to lead my house. Don't applaud yet. I didn't become the leader of my house by telling my wife what to do.
This part.
The reason why I'm the leader of my house is because I show people what to do. I just do it, and then I do it to the degree that is so good that I gotta make it attractive so my wife looks at it and goes, I need to do that. So that my kids go, I need to do that. My brothers, let me tell you something. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different. You are the key to your house. No disrespect to my sisters. You are the key to your house. Because when you leave, the nature of that house changes. We got a bunch of brothers in this state. The gang violence is not because we got mothers that abandon their children. The number one problem we have in this society is we don't produce enough men that produce men. Our number two problem is we don't produce enough women that know how to readily identify the difference between a male and a man. So they think that they're being partnered with a man because he's wearing the uniform of one. He got on nice shoes. He got nice pecs. He got the accoutrements of success. He got a nice hat. He got a nice car, but he still lives with his mama. You are in relationship with a male that is wearing the uniform of a man, but stuck in the mental capacity of a boy. This book is going to break down for you what the difference is. Listen, let me tell you something. I would have been a better husband. You better go with this. I would have been a better husband if I would have had my father teach me how to be one. How you gonna be a husband and nobody ever taught you how to be that? How you gonna be a wife and nobody ever taught you how to?
So, some things I agree with him with, some things I don't. However, maybe that is a good book to try to go read. It's called, what is the book? From The Difference Between Male and the Difference Between Men. I think that's what he said. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that men should, like, if you're interested in that, go check it out. I don't know what his name is, but I'm sure if you go to this live stream, they have a link to where you can get his book. But one of the things I would say that I did agree with is the simple fact is of him stopping trying to fix his wife, right? Like, I think that that was really good and smart of him to do, because the simple fact is that your wife is not your project. Because if you're supposed to be a man and not a male, then you have more important projects that you need to be focusing on, and other things that your attention is supposed to be doing, right? And then also he talked about somewhat of what leadership really is. Anybody who ever been in an actual leadership position and role would know that the first thing you can possibly do to become a leader is you have to follow. You have to know how to follow, right? If you ever had a leadership position or a professional leadership position, you are taught how to do everything that your subordinates are eventually, what you're going to ask of your subordinates to do eventually, right? And then you lead by example, okay? You don't just wake up, put on your big boy drawers or your big girl's drawers, and just stomp your foot and say, I am a leader, and hear me roar. That's not how it happens. It doesn't go that way, right? So that's why, I have decided to not partake in any more conversations about leadership, due to the simple fact is that I actually went to school for leadership. I actually been professionally certified within leadership, not only with the armed forces, also with the Department of Defense. So I don't want to have stupid conversations with people in reference of what leadership is and what leadership look like and stuff like that, when you most likely probably don't know more than I do. But so I let people believe whatever they want to believe and keep it moving. But I will say this, that the whole fixing situation, I'm glad that he stopped doing that. You should not be trying to fix your wife. And you shouldn't be trying to fix your wife, because if you know that you're inadequate and there's things in you that needs to be healed, your wife is not supposed to fit those pieces to make you whole, right? Even if you go by the scriptures of women being the helpmate to men, which I leave out is the men has to be complete first. And the woman being a helpmate is what? An addition. She's an addition. That's why you are supposed to have, it's supposed to be a benefit when you find a wife. What is the saying? Y'all know the saying. A man who finds his wife finds a good thing. What do you think that means? Because it's like you finding treasure when you find your wife. Not your wife literally putting you together. That's the wrong thing. That is the wrong thing to do. That is the wrong thing to request in your spouse, because I don't think it's a good idea when women request that and they men too, right? You should not be trying to fix anyone. Nobody should be trying to come together and fix each other. That doesn't make any sense, right? What you're supposed to do is you either both have your shit together, or if y'all both don't have your shit together, you can get your shit together and also stay on the side of each other while y'all getting y'all shit together, right? But it's not his problem, it's not her problem. The person has to do the work themselves. That's how they're going to appreciate it. That's how they're going to value it. And that's how they're going to respect it. And they're not going to take advantage, right? Because we see what happens when we put too much, we count on a mate to take on too much, fixing or whatever not for the other mate. Resentment comes. And also, that mate ends up getting worn out. They end up getting tired, right? And if you're struggling, how are you going to fill that other person's cup? You can't fill from a cup that's already empty. You can't fill from a cup that's already empty. So if this person is pouring water into your cup so you can be full, how are you going to fill this person's cup? How are you going to do that? You can't. You can't fill that person's cup. So then that lets that person have to find other means or other things or other people to help fill them up again, to help rejuvenate them again. Because if they love you, they're not gonna literally tell you, hey, I know I just filled your cup up 3 months ago. I'm gonna need that 3-month supply back because now I'm struggling. Now I'm on E. You wouldn't, number one, you wouldn't want to do that for somebody that you actually say that you genuinely love. And also, on top of that, the person that you gave that to, they're gonna be like, well, no, I finally feel good. I finally feel complete. I finally feel whole. I don't want to feel like how I felt before I asked you to help me. I don't want to feel that way again. So they probably say no. They'll probably say no. So again, the best way that you can only give reciprocity, and you're right, Dr. Still, the best way that you can only give reciprocity is when both people know the tools that they need to fill their cups. So when they help each other, it's never getting to E. Right? This is not saying that everybody's supposed to be complete all the time. They're not supposed to have bad times, good times, or anything like that. But there should be no reason why anybody is together with anybody who is starting at E. It's a difference when you're dealing with a person whose cup is half full than a person whose cup that needs to be filled from the beginning. It's quite different. And I think that that's something that really needs to be stressed. But like I said, there's some things in here where he says, I'm not really with it here and there. It is what it is. But, I do like the fact that he did point out that at one point in his marriage, he was telling his wife or instructing his wife trying to fix his wife so he can fix what was in himself. I was glad that he actually admitted that, because a lot of people would even admit that.
Gotta be that. We need to have this more often where we sit down and this is why the show came about in the first place. Because they're like, how do I get to be a better wife? How do I get to be a better husband? I gotta be in a community of folks that give us information How many times have people lied to you about what a relationship is? Or what a marriage is? Oh man, yeah, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. If you don't get skill sets about how to do a marriage, you will want to either kill yourself or kill your partner without skill sets. And that comes from a lack of information. That's why this is so necessary. You need that information.
Well, let me say this too. It's more accessible now than ever to work on yourself.
Yes.
To learn about whatever it is you want to be. If you want to be a wife, if you want to be a mother, if you want to be a husband, if you just want to be a man instead of a male, right? Or to recognize those things, it's more accessible now than ever through books like yours, through Black Love, through the Love Hour podcast, through tons of social media pages, and there are people who are so very vocal and verbal about, you know, it's okay to be imperfect. But we've got to work on ourselves, as you said, when you stop trying to fix her.
Yes.
We've got to work on ourselves. I had an epiphany like a couple weeks ago that like everyone's like marriage is work, and then people want to argue about is it work, should it be work, da 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 da. To me, the answer is absolutely yes, and the work is what we do on ourselves.
Right.
The work is not simply going to therapy as a couple and arguing and whatever it is.
Yes.
Hands down, period, point blank, we have to do work on ourselves at as many stages of marriage as possible to be the best person and partner that we can be, because we are evolving. We're evolving individually, we're evolving as couples. You done sent us off on a tangent where now we just like telling folks what it is, but at the end of the day, I just feel so grateful that there are so many avenues out here to learn how to be better at being us.
We always get like, oh, you guys are so cute, you were so young, y'all was babies. You know, like we get that a lot. And it is true, right? We started dating, we were 16 years old, we got married I was 21, she was 20. So people never, like we didn't even realize this until this year. One of the drawbacks of being together so young is the person you are at 16, like you're literally still a child. Like you are by law a minor. You can't drink, you can't smoke, like you're children. When we were 21, we were in college, like nothing about us nothing ever is finite, but we were so underdeveloped as people. So as you go into adulthood, like we had to go through all the changes together, becoming a man, being on my own first apartment. She never lived by herself ever. So she went from her parents' house to her dorm to with me. So living with a man for the first time, seeing this body and what that's like, you know. There ain't no DeAndre, there ain't no Dondre, you understand me? You know, so then she had to go from, she had this, we also have this daydream version of our marriage, you know, and a lot of that is based on our parents. So in both our parents were in the military, so in her family, her dad went to work every day. He came home, those checks came like clockwork on the 1st and the 15th, no matter what. House, medical, food, regardless, because you work for the government. My dad did too. So she never been dating an entrepreneur. So I got fired, you know, they was hating on your boy. When I got fired, she's expecting me to go get another job, be like my dad. What she didn't know is I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So when I got fired, I was like, this is God telling me that I need to go into what I really need to be. So now she's got to get used to the entrepreneur, ambitious version of me that I was really playing a role up until that point. I was acting like I wanted to work a 9 to 5. I never wanted to do that. Like I was like, man, please fire me. Give me 1 year of unemployment and I'll make it work, you know? So then, you know, we have kids and that literally changes your hormones and that dynamic. Then you have another kid and that kid ain't as well behaved as the first kid, you know, listen. And then, you know, her parents got divorced early in our marriage, so her viewpoint of marriage changed. So it's like, you know, I'm learning this to love the current. It's like an iPhone.
You was gonna say what I was gonna say.
You want to say? I can lob it off the backboard and you can take it. You can go from the iPhone.
Okay. You go.
Yeah, I don't have to dunk it all the time. I'll lob it to you.
Okay. I was just gonna say really quickly. First of all, Sally is goals. I just want y'all to say that. Just want y'all to know that we were back there, and I was like, I think I love her. I think I do. And I want to just quickly, the clip that was played is literally like the last year of my life. I have been transforming into Melissa 2.0 is what I've been calling it. And it is this habit I think that we have as women where we shrink in our own space is what I call it. We're crouching in our own bodies, not taking up all of our space, thinking that we are protecting our husband's ego. I don't need the spotlight. I'm gonna let my husband do this. So we yes them all the time. We're quiet. Even, you could see my demeanor. It's just like, I'm gonna let all y'all just speak and I'm gonna just sit in the back. And it's me trying to I don't need too much space. I'm gonna just sit here and be okay. Instead of saying, I have something to say. I have opinions. I have a point of view. And so that's literally what I have been working on with myself is have a point of view. Say something, have an opinion, and that's okay. That doesn't make you confrontational. That doesn't make you difficult. That doesn't make you an angry, mad Black woman. That is okay. And we find ourselves in relationships where we don't, and then we lose our intuition. And then 20 years into a marriage, someone's asking you, what do you like? And you're like, I don't even know. Because this whole time I've been appeasing, I've been appeasing my husband. I've been playing this role, and so I've been coming into the true, authentic Melissa, no longer playing the role of what I thought a wife would be. I have this image of this is what a wife is, and these are the characteristics of a wife, and so I'm trying to force myself to fit into this mold, and I'm losing parts of myself in the process. And so this year I've been like, child, no more. So listen. All this time I've been telling you I like eggs. I don't really like eggs. I have been evolving into.
I'm glad that she spoke about that, right? Because everybody's been around, I know a lot of you guys, a lot of y'all are in this space and you hear the conversations this have, right? We literally hear men in this space all the time telling us what is a woman, what is a wife, all that good stuff, right? And it's really good and refreshing to hear this wife, right? And that's Kevin on stage. He's very big on YouTube. Shout out to Kevin and his beautiful wife. Yeah, so we hear a lot in this space, about what is a woman, the whole list of what is a wife, and if you don't meet these requirements, this is exactly why you're not getting married, or you're leaving marriages and all this stuff like that. So it's very refreshing for her to explain how even when she in the beginning, she thought that she had to, do this whole list, and she had to only act within this list of what is a wife and all the stuff like that. And that she was actually experiencing where she lost her own intuition. She didn't even know what she liked anymore. She pretty much lost herself and she lost her voice. You know what I'm saying? And that she has decided to do the work and to bring back who she was, right? Because it's kind of like, why wouldn't you? If that was let's say if you was a funny, goofy girlfriend in the beginning and stuff like that, and you made your guy laugh and he was like, oh my God, my girlfriend's a goof troop. I love her little goofy self, right? And then now you're in the relationship with the person, and now all of a sudden you're just always stern, you're sternish and stuff like that. You lost yourself, right? Yeah, you're getting everything else done. The house is clean, you have kids, he doesn't have to worry about cooking a meal's already done. But then everything else that he enjoyed about you being funny, witty, stuff like that, you don't even know how to tap into that anymore, because you get stuck in a routine of just being whatever you need to be for your husband to fit that list. So if anything within that list, you'd be like, well, this person can't complain about this about me, because at least I know I'm hitting that list. I'm hitting that list the whole entire time. I'm at home. I cook food. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I had kids, and I have sex. I mean, so literally, if you're basically fitting that list, they're like, okay, I might be safe. And then some of these women who are in these marriages or in these relationships, they start to realize that if their husband is not even asking about why you're not even like the way how you was anymore. Like, it seems like I don't make you laugh anymore. It seems like if you're not doing sweet nothing things for me. You make that extra banana pudding for me every Sunday and stuff like that. Your little small things that you do for gratitude, and then wonder why they don't do those stuff anymore because you did it in the beginning, is because honestly it's not necessarily all the time because she doesn't want to do it for you. It's because she doesn't even feel like herself anymore, and she's been playing this quote unquote imaginary role of what she needed to do to get this marriage or sustain this marriage, that now if her being her actual true self seems like it's not even worth it anymore. And if it hurts also if you don't even have a husband that is even complaining why you're not even the things that used to make you spicy or make you exciting to him is not even there anymore. If he's not worried about that, like if you're married to a dude for a certain amount of years and he's not even worried that you used to be very charismatic, you used to be somewhat outgoing, or definitely outgoing when you want to go with him, you want to try new things, you used to be funny, you used to like humor. If you're dealing with somebody for a couple of years and they're not even asking why you have changed, that's a red flag, right? Because you will want to know why something in your spouse changed. And this is not only just for women, this is also for men too. Like, women have to realize if there's, certain things that your man is doing is not always the case of him trying to cheat or something like that. He could be feeling a kind of way too. So you just got to take those type of things into consideration. And that's why they said, all couples on there said that when it comes down to marriage and a relationship, it's literally work. You're signing up for work, but this is a job that you said that you wanted. This is a job that you said that you wanted. And I know that the word job is triggering because nobody wants to look at their marriage as a job. You know what I'm saying? But it is work. It is work. You said because you know what you're getting from it. You know that you love this person. You want to take care of this person. You value this person. And they also make you happy. They also make you feel special. They also make you feel loved. And it's worth it. In any of our relationships, even with our family members, you have to work on that relationship to maintain it, especially nowadays. You can't just be saying, hey, we just gonna just do whatever because we family anymore. No, that's not the case. We got people literally cutting their parents ice cold turkey and removing them out of their life because they realized that their parents was narcissistic, and they never could put a name to it until now they're they're older and they're still conducting the same type of narcissistic traits that they wasn't able to speak up about when they were younger because they were under the authority and also only the protection of the parents. So at that time they couldn't tell their parents, yo, you being a real narc, or you being selfish or whatever. You couldn't say that. But now as an older age, they're making the conscious decision, you're not gonna disturb my peace. I've been able to get my peace as an adult at a certain time, and I find you toxic. I love you. You're my mom. You're my dad. You're my uncle. You're my sister. I love you. I love you, but I'm gonna love your ass far the fuck away from me. And it just is what it is. But people have to do what they need to do for themselves. I do enjoy that she's being transparent about that, because a lot of people won't talk about that, right? Because we do have a lot of people who do come in these spaces, whether they're married or whether in relationship, and they act like it's perfect. They act like it's super perfect. There's no problems. There's no stress. There's no nothing. And now they have all the answers, and they can tell all the fucking single people in the world what they need to do and all the stuff like that. And truly, I'm at the point where I'm advocating that married people really need to mingle amongst other married people and leave single people single people alone, right? Like, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to give advice and stuff like that. You can give certain advice, but you got to also keep in mind that your advice is going to be from a biased lens, and also your marriage and what you do in your marriage does not fit everybody else's marriage. No marriage is a cookie cutter type of situation, because if it was, then I would think that it would be more marriages today and less divorces, but it's not, right? So you want to understand that even when you do give advice, you're going to you're going to be a little biased in it, because you're only going to go by the things that you accept in your relationship, you accept in your marriage, and that is working for you. And you have to remember that you are an individual, your spouse is an individual, and y'all union is unique. It's unique. It's not going to be the same for everybody else. It's not. And then especially if you're only talking to one person, if you're only talking to one person that's in that relationship and giving them advice, you're not taking into consideration the personality of the person that person is dating or married to. Right? You don't understand them. You don't know them in and out or anything like that. So you're only getting, like I said, you're only getting biased information. You're only getting one side of the story. You're only getting one side about how one person feels. And then you're giving advice off of that. So I truly believe, like, yes, do the work. People got to do the work on themselves. And, when it comes down to couples and all the stuff like that, yeah, couples therapy, where you can have an outside person who can view the situation and both people can speak, express themselves and things of that sort. That's what needs to happen, really. But really, I really do think that sometimes the couples, the married people, y'all married folks need to just stay quiet just a little bit. Not all the time, but just a little bit, because your marriage is unique. It's not everyone's marriage. It's not. It really isn't. And even when y'all think y'all talking about the foundationals of marriage, I can literally start. If I can literally ask y'all how y'all marriage start and how did you get to the point where you got married, I bet you 9 times out of 10, everybody who is married now did not follow the ways of the Bible to get married. Okay? So I don't want to hear nothing about foundation. I don't want to hear nothing about foundation, because most people do not follow the initial foundations of how everything's supposed to go according to the good book and according to religions as it is. And y'all made y'all way throughout the time and throughout the years, and then eventually it worked for you. Y'all both was in agreement, and that's why your marriage is flourishing. Okay, so that's why I say, like, just a little bit, just stay out of single people shit just a little bit, and deal with more people who is in the same situation as you. That's what I will say. All right, we only got a little bit left, and then we
that person and being okay with it. And so we give this now. This is real life.
For real, I'm like, bro, you're like, hell, you need 8,000 eggs in our marriage, honey.
These are real life stories. So we give this example about my evolution, and it comes from a real life story. So my youngest son has an iPhone. He has an iPhone 7 a few updates ago. And I was showing him, I have the 10 now, and I was showing him something on my phone. And of course he has an older model, so it's not a 1-for-1. So I'm trying to explain to him how to do something. I'm like, press this button. He's like, I ain't got that button. Well, press this button. Well, I ain't got that button either. And I had this like real life epiphany, and I was like, that's marriage. Sometimes, as an example, on his phone, he has the home button, the iPhone 10 doesn't. And you marry this person and they have the home button. And then you update, you evolve, you change. And your husband is, in this case, is like pressing the home button, and I'm like, it ain't there no more. I don't care how many times you press that button, it no longer serves a function. And what you have to do is learn this new model. The model without the home button. The model when you used to be able to swipe right to delete an email, you now got to swipe left. Learn that.
You guys got it, got it, Aaron. She's got it, stuff. She's all in.
Okay.
I was like, got going for you. Here's my thing. I want to just say one thing. Just want to say one thing about the phone. Great analogy. Oh, perfect.
It's my favorite.
However, when you get an iPhone and they update it, they send you an email. And they, you see?
Hey guys, so like I said, this is a channel on YouTube. It's Black Love, so you can check out all their stuff. They have podcasts, they have these live shows, they have a lot of things, a lot of information, a lot of help. So please, utilize that. And I just want to say thank you so much for rocking out with me for this long. We done hit the 3-hour mark. Please make sure that you have liked, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, please leave me comments. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to review or have a conversation about. I really enjoyed this stream. It was great going over great things about Black people, our success throughout the years, our unique and elite organizations, and also showing Black love and not all this negative and stereotypes and all the stuff like that. It was a refreshing experience because that we get flooded all the time with the negative and stuff like that. And yes, we do have to do commentary and report on it, just to keep people up to date about what's going on. But we definitely need to also keep people up to date about the things that we could definitely be proud of. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for rocking out with me, because y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all rocked out with me. And I appreciate it. And I hope that every single one of y'all have a lovely evening, whatever you're going to go do. I don't know who's live right now that y'all can go and see what's going on. Let me check it. Who's live right now? That maybe if y'all want to go over there and kick it with them real quick. Okay, so Real Talk with Yanni is live, so you can go check her out. She's talking about some crazy story. I guess this woman admitted what happened to her when she married into the NFL. Then we have our brother Freezy. He's live right now. Go check him out. Go follow him and everything. He's live right now. He's going on about some stuff about Boozie's daughter and Donald Trump in trouble. And let's see what else. Who else is live? I like to give y'all options. So yes, Freezy, Real Talk with Yanni. We have Nyla Vibe. She's live. If anybody watches her, we have a debate going on right now with Yada Awakening and Anton Daniels. Is going on at Harley Initiated. So go check that out right now if you want to go see Anton Daniels' debate. And let's see what else. Kendra G, if y'all interested in that. And let's see if anybody's into Kimberly Noko Foster. She's live now too. And who else? I'm just trying to give y'all options. So there's a couple of people that's live right now. Go check them out if you're interested. If you're not, I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, guys. And stay care,